most agents think success comes from like really one big win that is going to set them up. Whether it's that viral video, that great lead, or that next transaction, which is going to change everything for them. But that is really not how sustainable businesses work. And in this video today, we're really going to talk about the real estate agent business flywheel. And this video is so important that I actually have notes. So usually I'm just going to talk directly into the camera, but today I'm going to, take a look at my notes so I make sure that I don't miss anything for you. So when we really talk about what is the flywheel, it was a concept that was brought in on the book Good to Great by Jim Collins. And really what he was talking about and explaining is why some businesses create unstoppable growth while others get stuck on a hamster wheel. And it's really about a flywheel is basically a mechanical device that is really, really hard to push at first. And it's not until the flywheel gets momentum that things start to move, and turning that flywheel becomes easier and easier and easier. So really what we want to break down in today's video is what is a real estate agent's flywheel and what parts of your flywheel are not working for you. So let me go back to my notes here so I don't miss anything again for you guys. So in a lot of my previous videos, I talk about the income roller coaster, that cycle of suck. And one month you're crushing it, the next month it's like feast or famine, and you're stressed because you don't have a pipeline. The problem is we're working in sprints, we're chasing leads, we're grinding through open houses, we're trying that next shiny new tactic instead of doing what my favorite thing is, building sustainable systems in your business. So you all know I'm such a huge fan of that 6 pillars that you need, and then my SOFA system that goes along with it to create that, business blueprint. And so what we really want to work on is making sure that you have those right systems, aka the right segments of your flywheel, so that you can actually build momentum. So once again, we talked about what is that flywheel? It's a real huge heavy wheel that takes all of your strength just to budget. But every time you push it, every time you lead generate consistently, every time you do lead follow-up consistently, every time you track your expenses and your P&L, your real estate flywheel will be easier and easier and easier to push. That's how great businesses are built. And my entire mission in life is to coach agents to basically go from doing, a handful of transactions into creating a sustainable, predictable, scalable business of their dreams and being the CEO of that business. And we need to get your flywheel and those 6 pillars all aligned. A general flywheel, like rule of thumb for us when we're talking about this in a real estate perspective, is making sure that we have a lead generation section. You got to make sure you're doing lead follow-up and lead nurture. We have to make sure that we have the ultimate customer service, customer experience that turns them into raving clients so that they ensure that they're giving us the next segment, referrals and reviews. And then it's so important that we're utilizing that to continue the momentum of the flywheel to really talk about how are you going about building your reputation? What are you doing to create authority in your market so that people really begin to see you as the go-to? And once again, I've talked about this in other trainings that I've had. There's great tips and techniques on how you can really build your reputation, particularly using AI. And then you got to continue to feed your sales funnel. You got to make sure you're doing the lead generation to get those leads into your sales funnel so that you can keep that momentum going. How do you break your flywheel? You just stop doing the things you hate to do. So real estate is not a difficult business, but it's not easy because we have to fall in love with the process, not the results. And so creating those systems and doing that daily lead generation, doing the daily lead follow-up, going on those appointments, negotiating your deals, doing your skill development, building your reputation, all of that is part of your flywheel. And instead, we just stop. And, if you're thinking about the fact that it's a flywheel, if you basically stop one section, your wheel is not going to be running smoothly. And we're always chasing that latest hack. Like, you get that text message from some company that's going to sell you leads and you think this is now the answer to all of my real estate problems. And it takes you away from focusing on the core things that actually really matter in your business. And unfortunately, we expect the results and we expect them to be fast. And what we don't do is trust the small, consistent actions that really build that unstoppable momentum over time. That is, make sure flywheel turn easier and easier and easier every single day. And those activities and those actions, those small little things, are really like that compound effect. And we really need to ensure that, everything that you have on your flywheel and your 6 pillars is actually aligned in order to see that success, sustainability, growth without the burnout. But the good news is, once your flywheel is spinning, everything changes. Your income becomes predictable. Your business becomes scalable, which is the most exciting aspect of what I do when I coach real estate agents to grow their businesses. And you ultimately are no longer chasing deals, but you have the freedom that's not only life freedom, time freedom, choice freedom, it's also financial freedom. And what we need to do is stop starting over. We need to stop with the, chase that deal, work that deal to death, close that deal, pick our head up and realize, oh crap, I'm unemployed again. And so really my challenge to you is to really do a great assessment of where you are in your real estate business right now. What are those gaps? What are the aspects of your business and the 6 pillars that are basically killing the momentum on your business? And if you're really not sure, and you might not even know, like, how do I even start taking these transactions and turning it into business? Guess what? Most people don't. I've been in this industry now for 30 years. I've run companies. I've been a CEO. I've sold $3 billion worth of real estate, and I had to start at the beginning too. And so I've created a free business health assessment. All you need to, and I'll provide a link for it in the description of this, so you can just click on it and be able to get access to that free assessment. It's really going to give you some insights into where you are in creating the actual business and where your gaps are, so that you can really start building those 6 pillars, building those sections of your flywheel. And I'm here to help. So, my ask of you is just to hit like and subscribe if you like my information. Inside the description will also be my Instagram handle, which is the Steph Wilkinson. You can always DM me there, and I am happy to jump into conversations and also send you the guide. I do have additional courses. I'm going to be launching a 7-day boot camp, which is going to be really starting to get those systems and pillars in place on a true sprint. And let me know also if that's something that you might be interested in being on the email list, so I can let you know when we launch that. So thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe.